That's right, Sean. Most polls in Georgia have closed as of 7 p.m. local time. I will say, however, that there have been a few locations that have had their deadlines extended. The reason for that is because there were some issues earlier, mostly relating to security. In Fulton County, where I am right now, which is where the state capital, Atlanta, is, there were 5 locations that received non-credible bomb threats, and 2 of those locations had to be evacuated by law enforcement officials. Now, those brief shutdowns weren't long, but they were long enough for election officials to put in a court order to ask for additional time and for an extension of the closing times, and that's why we are seeing this. Now, they're not being extended for long, literally for as long as they were closed, so that ranges from 10 minutes to 45 minutes. So by 8 p.m., all polls in Georgia will be closed. Now, where I am at Fulton Election Hub, Sean, is where all the votes are being tabulated as we speak. There is a heavy police presence here visible, and that again relates not only to the security threats that we heard earlier, but simply because Fulton County has been an epicenter of a lot of controversy. You'll remember that in 2020, it is the county where Joe Biden's win over Donald Trump resulted in Trump claiming that the election had been stolen and trying to pressure the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, into finding him the 12,000 votes that he legitimately lost to Joe Biden. And in fact, that litigation is ongoing to this day. Related to that, Sean, just in the last couple of hours, we have heard that a judge, a state judge here in Georgia, has thrown out Republican litigation that claimed unfairness relating to absentee ballots being counted. Those were dropped in to Democratic counties over the weekend. The Republicans took umbrage to this, but a judge said that their complaint was not reasonable, that it was totally lawful, and in fact went so far as to saying that the Trump campaign and Republicans had attempted to tip the scales of the election at the 11th hour, Sean. So there has been quite a lot of activity here as a result of the record early voting. 4 million Georgians voted early, and the 1.2 million who voted today on election day. We are expecting a quick tabulation of those results, despite the extension of those poll closings, Sean. So within the next couple of hours, potentially, Secretary of State Raffensperger saying that certainly by the end of Tuesday night, we will know whether Kamala Harris or Donald Trump has won the state of Georgia, Sean.
Interesting. It played such an important role in 2020. Everybody expects Georgia is going to be in play this time as well. But let's turn to another key southern state that you've been monitoring for us as well, and that is North Carolina, not terribly far from where you are. Bring us up to date on the situation there.
Yeah, Sean, North Carolina also in play, not usually at the forefront of discussions around battlegrounds, but it's important this election cycle. I'll tell you why. North Carolina has traditionally voted Republican for decades, except for 2008, when it broke to vote for Democrat Barack Obama. But 2016 and 2020, North Carolina did vote for Trump, but only by small margins. Now, that's important because the Trump campaign really does need to win North Carolina. If it doesn't, if North Carolina goes to Harris, it will complicate Trump's path to victory. Now, we've seen record voting, early voting in North Carolina. Their polls are closing imminently. And again, because of that early voting and many of those votes already having been counted, we are expecting to see those results very soon. As I say, Sean, it's important for both Trump and Harris to get a victory here. If Harris gets a victory in North Carolina, it's going to complicate Trump's path to 270 electoral votes. If Trump wins, it will complicate things for Kamala Harris, especially if she doesn't win Georgia. If that plays out, really the best shot to win the presidency for Harris will be securing the blue wall states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Sean.
Okay, Poppy, thank you so much for your insight. We'll check in with you as well.